Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you in the best of health and spirits. Okay. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about building a meritocracy in the context and conception of the 21st century of the term. Okay. I would like to begin this paper by saying that creating a meritocracy has been one of my avowed objectives all along. Okay. I've been talking about this indirectly, if not directly, for time immemorial, for a very long period of time, over 2 decades at least. And it is for this very reason that I founded the Institute for Study of the Globalization of Science, ISCOS, Scholars and Intellectuals for Mankind, Schema, and Movement for Open, Transparent, High Quality and Ideology Science. It's also known as MOTI. Schema means trying to do something useful or objective. Motis means pearl or diamond in Hindi or Sanskrit. Okay, let me also begin this paper by saying what is a meritocracy. A meritocracy is a commonly used English term nowadays. It is derived from the Old English term merit, which in turn arose from the old Latin term merio and cracy from ancient Greek. In ancient Greek, kratos means strength or power. Okay, loosely defined, it refers to a political system in which economic goods and political power are vested in individual people based on their merit and talent and their abilities alone, and not ideology or not vested power or not based on birth, etc. Okay, merit alone is accorded importance in such a system. Wealth is not given that much importance here. Social class is also not given that much importance here. Recommendations and all that don't work here. Okay, there is in such a case no oligarchy, there is no social hierarchy, there is no class hierarchy, there is no monopoly of power by few vested interest groups. There is also no heterarchy. I have spoken about heterarchy previously. Okay, the first common use of the terms was by sociologist Alan Fox way back in the 50s in the journal Socialist Commentary. Okay, it was much later popularized by the socialist Michael Dunlap Young in the book The Rise of Meritocracy in 1958. Okay, today the term is often utilized to refer to social systems in which personal advancement and success primarily depend on the individual's talents, capabilities, and abilities, his hard work, and his productive hard work. Okay, ability to deliver the goods rather than some recommendation of some obstruse or abstract considerations. Okay, and this is frequently seen as equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity must be distinguished at the very outset from equality. Absolute equality is championed and espoused by Marxists sometimes, and absolute equality may not be possible because different people have got different interests in life, different talents, different abilities, different levels of education, and they've got different proclivities and mind orientations, and they're birthed in different cultures which may not always be equal. Okay, and equality is detrimental to a meritocracy. However, equality of opportunity fosters and promotes a meritocracy in many ways. Okay, equality of opportunity ensures that all interested individuals have the same ability to access and the chance of receiving particular resources such as employment, housing, education without discrimination based on factors such as age, gender, ethnicity, etc. Gender is also extremely important because women power is extremely important, and I have spoken about the need for women to succeed in the particular chosen areas of interest or study or occupation. Okay, they must be provided equal chance to succeed along with men. Absolute equality is not possible because all individuals are not equal. Absolute equality is not possible because all individuals do not possess the same level of motivation. Some want to be stuck in a rut forever, always. Some want to go ahead in life. Okay, levels of motivation vary based on their personal ideals, goals, etc. Okay, mediocrity on the other hand is exactly the opposite. Mediocrity is a dominant class of a group of people which consists of mediocre people, lackluster people who do not possess the motivation, urge, desire to try or do anything good, or they don't possess the talent or the ability itself. Okay, in case of mediocrity is rewarded and merit is punished adversely. Of course, this may be an obvious exaggeration, but most mediocrities do tend in this direction. Okay, ideology based approaches also, we have written about this recently in a paper published a few days ago. Ideology based approaches do permit mediocrity. Marxists, by the very nature of the ideology, cannot become good thinkers, scholars, or intellectuals. I have written about this in detail because Marxists, just like Hindutva people, leads to over politicization, and Marxism itself is a quasi political ideology. It may lead to depleted intellectual faculties, illogical, irrational behavior, loss of personal respect and dignity, etc. Tendency to utter falsehoods and lies, etc., in the name of their ideology, grappling with a limited set of issues. As a matter of fact, the great Indian thinker Ramachandra Guha has said, Marxists may be silly, limited, flawed, lacking elementary sense. However, allowing Hindutva groups to take control would lead to a total breakdown of society and culture. It would lead to street fights. That's what something he had said, something like this, of this sort in Karnataka, North Karnataka, and way back in 2016, I believe. You could just read it. Ideology is drenched in ideology, soaked individuals cannot also criticize people fairly and holistically. They cannot evaluate people holistically. Hindutva will also bring India and Hinduism a bad name in the long run. However, um, uh, this is just a matter of time because time will catch up with it. That's why we need to eschew it is not forms of ideology. Those that do not promote the truth and adherence to the truth at all times. Okay, please refer our previous papers on how ideologies should be identified. Ideologies naturally will bring science and intellectualism a bad name. It will bring India also a bad name, and other developing countries a bad name. Who would follow it? Just as Mahatma Gandhi fought for India's political freedom along with other freedom fighters, just as Ambedkar fought for the freedom of Dalits, just as P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh gained us economic freedom. We would like to lay the framework and groundwork along with other individuals, thinkers, those who imbibe and subscribe to the 21st century ideals to help India and other developing countries become uh, intellectual scientific superpowers in their own definition of the term and help other developing countries also. I have spoken about vertical collaboration. I have horizontal collaboration. Along with vertical collaboration, you also need horizontal collaboration between developing countries. I have spoken of this in length also. Okay, and let us now try to trace the history of the concept meritocracy. There have been many early conceptions of the term meritocracy. For example, meritocracy has been used in IQ tests, fluid and crystallized IQ tests. We have had Stanford Binet intelligence scale tests, Woodcock Johnson 3 tests of cognitive disabilities, differential ability scales, Peabody individual achievement test, Wechsler individual achievement test, universal non-verbal intelligence test, Wechsler adults intelligence scale tests, and use of standardized achievement tests which are tests that measure student skills and abilities in a particular subject of area at a specific time. They differ from teacher designated tests, and standard achievement tests help to objectively assess a student's academic performance and progress. They help to measure a student's knowledge in the areas that are tested. They help identify students' areas of strengths and weaknesses. They help get a picture of annual and quasi-annual, monthly or quarterly progress also. Examples of such tests include Scholastic Aptitude Test or SAT, Otis Lennon School Ability Test, Differential Ability Scales DAS, and we need to have objective assessment in schools and all-round assessment in schools, 360-degree feedback and assessment. Okay, these also need to be put in place. And government and other administration systems also we need to have meritocracy. Okay, this is a system under which advancements within the system will be based on merit such as performance, intelligence, IQ, credentials, education, utilization of skills. Okay, these may be developed through and evaluated and determined through evaluations and examinations or own which are objective and rigorous and methodological and systematic. No politics involved. Okay, all ideologies will lead to politics willy nilly, and such assessments and evaluations must be thorough and meticulous, comprehensive. They must be non-biased and not ideology based. However, a balance also needs to be maintained. There must not be an overemphasis on performance because some people have criticized overemphasis on performance. We also have companies such as IBM talking about work-life balance. Other companies are also following suit now. And Michael Young, for example, used the term meritocracy pejoratively and negatively in his book, The Rise of the Meritocracy, because overemphasis on talent and merit may interfere with work-life balance and happiness, human happiness. Similarly, Thomas Piketty notes in his book Capital in the 21st Century that democratic societies and capitalistic societies rely excessively on a meritocratic worldview. This may be detrimental to focus in other areas for progress in other areas such as art, literature. Of course, this is a concept. This is his own perception of the issue. May or may not be right. Okay, over reliance on academic degrees also has been criticized in some quarters. This is particularly true in developing countries such as India, and even the educational programs that exist in India are not of the requisite quality and standard. Let us now delve into the history of meritocracy. Let us now begin with ancient China or imperial China. Some of the earliest examples of an administrative meritocracy have been based on civil service examinations in ancient China. The concept originates in the 6th century BC when it was articulated by the Chinese philosopher Confucius, who invented the notion that those who govern should do so because of merit and not because of inheritance or inherited status, okay, or birth, that is. This led to imperial examinations and bureaucracies, and administrative positions were available only who passed this test fairly, okay, and with good scores. And as the Qin and Han dynasties developed, they also evolved a meritocratic system to help spawn a new generation of administrators to maintain control over their empire. Okay, it became the necessary to for the government there in China, ancient China, to have a large number of administrators. Similarly, we have Kautilya, Chanakya's Kautilya, and etc. They spoke about functioning of the economy, etc. And the Mauryan Empire, for example, also had a large number of administrators because it was a vast empire spread over much of South Asia. Okay. Similarly, they tried to encourage people from different backgrounds, diverse points of view, including people, rural people. And in ancient China, civil service exams were instituted. After the fall of the Han Dynasty, the nine rank system was established during the Three Kingdoms period. The key three kingdoms in the third century BC were the warring Chinese states. They were the Wei, Shu, Han, and Wu, and some other Western. I think even Witzel has written about this. The nine rank system was a method of ranking government officials on a comprehensive basis in China, ancient China. Was used to organize officials into a hierarchy, highest rank being one, and the lowest rank nationally being nine. It's the lowest. Okay, and the system was created in the state of Kao Wei during the Three Kingdoms period. It was used in still the Song dynasty. Similar ranking systems are also used in the Ming and Qing dynasty. In ancient Greece, both Plato and Aristotle advocated meritocracy. For example, Plato, in his book, seminal book, epoch-making book, The Republic, argued that only the wise people should rule and the mediocre people should not be given a place in administrative power. Okay, and philosopher kings alone should rule in his view. Okay, for example, these two people, Plato and Aristotle, along with Socrates and other people, are great thinkers, and Greek has produced more than its fair share of thinkers. We are beholden to them, but other developing countries also must now up the ante and rise up to the occasion. Okay, the Republic, for example, is a Socratic dialogue. It was authored by Plato in 375 BC. We dealt with dealing with justice and the characteristics of a good city state. Okay, and it is also one of Plato's best known works. Many other similar books on administration have been developed in ancient Greece. Okay, in the Islamic world, if you come to the Islamic world, the Rashidun Caliphate uh, also had a succession rule that was based on meritocracy alone. Meritocracy alone. Okay, and all these people, intellectuals, would get together in a shura assembly, and the caliph would be chosen only based on his merit, and they would also only meritorious people would get to vote. And of course, these such democracies, including ancient Rome, ancient Greece, were not true democracies. First true democracy was the US only. At the, after, at the, as the first caliph of the Rashidun Caliphate, Abu Bakr was not a monarch and he never claimed such titles. All his successors also were voted to power. Okay, based on merit. Okay. Likewise, in the Safavid Persian society, that was also a meritocracy. Officials were appointed only on the basis of merit, worth, and their proven abilities, talents, and capabilities. And we also have concepts of viziers. This is a very extremely important concept I've been familiar with my childhood. Viziers were high-ranking officials in Muslim countries. This was especially true on Turkey under the Ottoman rule, but also viziers generally refer to a Muslim, some kind of advisor to the king. Okay, they were learned, educated people usually. In India, we had Birbal, who was a wise and witty person. He was a Hindu, but he advised the Muslim Emperor Akbar in India 500 years ago. In the 17th century, the British philosopher and the polymath John Stuart Mill also advocated meritocracy. This was published in his book, Considerations on Representative Government. His model was also geared towards giving more rights to educated people. Okay, his views are explained in the book. His work excellent. Okay, the concept of meritocracy also spread from China to British India in the 17th century after the British East India Company was founded and colonialist expansion began in right earnest. The first such empire, of course, was Britain. It established such a policy, such a system in British India to give rise to a new class of administrators, and service examinations were also being held in India. Educated Indians were selected to become ranks, particularly many people from South India, especially Madras presidency became, and mostly many people from the Brahmin community and other upper caste Hindus became. Our lower caste Indians and Muslims did not become such a large extent. And this idea from India spread to the British Empire and was emulated by other colonialists as well. And Macaulay, Thomas Babington Macaulay, around the 1830s or so, wanted to build a class of person, as he famously said, who were Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, opinions, morals, and intellects. And meritocracy was the characteristic and defining feature in many other countries also. For example, we had the Ashanti tribe, I think, in Africa. Okay, the king Osei Kwadwo, okay, who ruled between 1764 and 1777 AD, also put a meritocratic meritocratic system of appointing vizier or officials, etc. Okay, in the US also, President Thomas Jefferson argued for promotion of talent based on virtue and merit alone. And this concept has been promoted in the 20th century also. For example, Singapore and other countries have promoted meritocracy. This was true under Lee Kuan Yew, who promoted meritocracy. He was extensively overly critical of Nehru's idea of socialism. He said socialism would never fail, it would be doomed to failure. Okay, it would never succeed, that is. And in the 21st century, more radical interpretations of the term meritocracy are required. That is what I particularly feel. Okay, first thing is it must be based on the full realization of human potential principle as far as possible. This is a long-term goal and a very complex goal, but we should make baby steps in this regard. Human potential is the ability of people to improve themselves through learning, practice, and training, and to reach their full potential. It is the idea that people can live in alignment with their highest self ability, highest abilities, and can lead the enriching, fulfilling, and a rewarding life. Okay, it is not. We have also spoken about concepts such as cultural supremacy, xenophobia, xenocentrism. All these things must be sought to be overcome in due course. Ideal mind orientation must be present. I've spoken about different types of mind orientation, such as religious, business, family, scientific orientation, peer man. I've also spoken about thought worlds, worldviews, mind space. All these need to be changed and optimized. This can happen through better education and as societies evolve and mature. I've also spoken about cultural orientation, rational, non-rational, scientific, non-scientific, past-oriented, present-oriented, inward-looking, outward-looking, xenophobic, xenocentric, etc. Cultural orientation also this can be done by a social and cultural anthropologist. I have written extensively on social cultural change. Please read my books. I have at least 6 papers on social cultural change. Therefore, Indians, for example, may be still over religious and ideology driven, may change with the passage of time. Each region, each country has its own set of problems. There should be no copy paste scholarships. Okay. I will also talk to you about some other concepts of human potential. For example, we had the human potential movement. This movement began in the 1960s and was based on the idea that people have untapped potential that can lead to increased happiness, creativity, and fulfillment. Okay, this arose out of counterculture movements. Counterculture movements are political and cultural movements that rejected mainstream values and sought to create a new cultural order. It is based on Abraham Maslow's theory of self actualization. People need to have food, clothing, shelter before they can think of other things. An Institute for Achievement of Human Potential also was founded in 55 by Glenn Doman and Carl Decalto. Okay, we must also unleash human potential fully, explore human potential fully, and also must put in what is it, intelligent and talented people with. This will lead to better knowledge, better standard of living, etc. Okay, and we have concepts such as human development index. Also, I have written about this briefly, and the capability approach that was written by developed by Amartya Sen and Martha Nussbaum. All these concepts will definitely help. And these people have developed the capability approach, which is a core part of the human development paradigm. This is based on capabilities, functionings, conversion factors, agency and evaluation policies. More work metrics and measurements may be required. More concepts may be required. More work may be required in developing country. Therefore, we need high quality education also. And refer to our books and pedagogy. We need to do with rote learning, more focus more on knowledge and wisdom, practical application of knowledge, etc. Use of AI in education, etc. We need to have more non-conformists, rabble rousers, muckrackers, dissenters, iconoclasts, etc. For example, we had people must rebel with a cause. I have written about the book Rebel Without a Cause, which is a 1955 American melodramatic film. We have had only few thinkers in India, like Srinivas Ramanujam. We need to have a large number more, and we need to have a talent recognition method in place. We need to recognize child prodigies, recognize earlier career talent. India's talent recognition program is extremely poor. India's scholarship programs are also nascent. Both government and agencies, etc., must fit in. Okay. And we also need to have a good reward and recognition program. India's reward recognition program is very poor, and we have very few scientific prizes indeed. Okay, and similarly, along with this, parenting techniques also must improve. It must be based on positive reinforcement, operant conditioning, right kind of parenting techniques based on constructive criticism, consisting consistency, and our parenting models are also obsolete. I've also written about 21st century intellectualism. Along with 21st century intellectualism, we must stamp out all, weed out all kinds of inequality like the caste system, etc. I do not prefer reservations or what is affirmative actions. It's where necessary. We had a Mandal Commission report being implemented by VP Singh, and then it led to a huge outcry. We had affirmative action to eliminate unlawful discrimination, remedy the results of past discrimination, prevent future discrimination, that is, create induce reparations, etc., increase education, access to education, promote diversity, social equality, and social inclusion. However, these may be a short term and maybe not long-term solutions. In the long term, the quality of education has to improve. We need to have a robust intellectualism. We need to have an intellectual class, creative class, entrepreneurial class, etc. We need to have better scientific method. Academic freedom must be promoted. Of course, this must not be no holds bar academic freedom. It must be responsible. We must have proper research focus on the right kind of things. Okay, and people while exposing academic freedoms, researchers and scholars must bear in mind social responsibilities also. We need to have a plurocracy which assumes a correct plurality of views as opposed to plutocracy, which is a rule by the elites. Okay, in some, we need a thorough revaluation, re-examination of the concept of meritocracy in the 21st century. This will propel India and other developing countries to greater heights. Unfortunately, much of the media and the general public is still stuck in the old 21st century format. All this needs to change. That is the reason why I have this video here. Okay, and I would like to look forward to more concepts. I have written about the human potential movement. I have written about the human development index. I've spoken about the capability approach. I have written about these also in the great level of depth, which was developed by economists Amartya Sen and Martha Nussbaum. I please refer to all these on the internet. I would look forward to new concepts on these lines being developed, and meritocracy will involve all this. Old and narrow definitions of meritocracy will go. And meritocracy is a much wider concept. And if you have any comments on the video, please let me know. Thank you.